My name is Duncan McKenzie. I'm the Director of Engineering for Docs, Channel 9, MSDN, a whole bunch of stuff like that. We're going to talk about Docs because it's new and exciting, but we'll start with a little bit of history. So we actually started publishing technical documentation online all the way back in 1992. And we started at the time publishing a lot of that on disks, like CDs that you would actually take with you. And I remember a very common thing when you would go to a customer site, if you were a programmer, they didn't have internet. So you couldn't just use the online version. In fact, the online version was probably used way less than any of our CDs ever were. So you would actually take this and you would install it onto the machine. The actual desktop that you'd use, because this was probably before you carried around a big laptop to all these places too. But at the time, someone told me, and I wish I could remember who, but they were saying that technical documentation was kind of Microsoft's competitive advantage in the developer space. That at the time, the Java docs from Sun and things like that were not all that good. And then our VB and Win32 API documentation was very, very comprehensive. And so a lot of people considered that a really core reason why they might want to use or be successful with, back in the original ASP and VB script and VB and things like that. But over time, more and more stuff ended up being put onto this site. We had MSDN, which was developer, and then we also had TechNet that is aimed more at ops or IT pros. And it grew and grew and grew until by this point now, we have about 47 million pages of documentation on MSDN. And that's a lot. And it got built up and improved over time, but I think the last substantive architecture change on MSDN was in around 2005. So the code base that's running right now on msdn.microsoft.com is roughly the same as the code base that was deployed in 2005. So that's a long time, and a lot of things have changed in that time. So when we came around, and there's all sorts of new people who are on the team now, we wanted to update it. But a lot of decisions were made over time where we let any product team come along, and if they put their docs in, they just put them in raw HTML, which meant every single set of documentation was different. Every single bit of it had different compatibility problems. If you wanted to make it something like accessible, or you wanted to have it be responsive in a mobile view, you were dealing with 47 million documents built by hundreds of different teams over the course of 15 years. So we decided to change it up and actually build something new. Now, part of that, according to my boss, is because developers like to build something new all the time. And we have a desire in a lot of cases to do it. Does that work? Are we seeing docs? Yeah, cool. I can't see it. So we built instead docs.microsoft.com, and there's a few really big changes that we decided to do here. One, we decided to stop siloing developer documentation and IT pro documentation and administrator documentation and all those things. Instead, all technical documentation at the company is targeted to be at one place now. And part of that is because we've found that the lines between those categories are a little blurred. If you're somebody who does SQL all the time, you probably occasionally have to deploy and administer a SQL box. If you're somebody who's doing UWP development, maybe you care about group policy and things like that in Windows as well. So we're putting it all into one place. And so because of that, you'll see we have things like Windows, but then we also have enterprise mobility and security, which is very much like an old TechNet kind of category of stuff. So we built all of these things, and we changed it up as we went. Let me find something to go into. And we didn't want to end up in the same state that MSDN did. So as each team came to us and said, hey, we'd like to put our content on here, we didn't let them dump it all in HTML. In fact, we didn't even migrate the content from MSDN as HTML. We turned it into Markdown as we did it. Because Markdown, although it's actually really limited, is its actual benefit is that it's really limited. So you can't have people doing custom JavaScript, custom CSS in there and things like that. We can say, no, here's what you can do. Here's how you do headings. Here's how you do your code blocks. And it allowed us to kind of knock everything down to a set of content that we could then make responsive and accessible and things like that. So we knew the whole time that we were going to have lots of traffic. So one of the nice things about moving from MSDN versus starting something brand new is that we already knew what our audience was. We already knew their monthly traffic. We already had an idea of how that traffic grows over time. So right from the beginning, even though I think the first thing we put on here was only about 1,000 pages of documentation, we knew we were going to get to 47 million. We knew we were going to get to where, as the title of the talk said, we get about 40 million unique people come to the site a month right now. So given that, we decided to build the entire site to be static, where everything on the site is rendered out behind a CDN, and so nothing in terms of the server rendering of this site is dependent on you. So every single person who asks for this .NET page gets the same HTML sent down to them. And then anything we want to do to customize that, we do with JavaScript and thing on the front end. So we try to keep ourselves doing as little as possible on the server and leave it all up to the CDN to scale it for us, so that in the end, wherever you are in the world, we don't have to have separate data centers for docs running all over the place. We only run in 2, because the CDN takes care of kind of the global scaling side of it for us. But the other thing, as we went through all of this, I can flip around, is that by doing structured content and by doing markdown and things like that, it allowed us to, we can update the rendering of the pages. So back on MSDN, if we wanted to suddenly improve what all the .NET APIs look like, we'd have to regenerate new HTML. We'd have to go in there and say, okay, well, we have 10 million documents for the .NET framework, 15, I think. And we actually have to tweak how the HTML looks so that the code samples can have new features. But by doing it with structured content and rendering it out in the server, now we can add new features rolled out across millions of pages very quickly and easily. All right. Back to the slides, I think. So the other thing we looked at doing, since we were building it again, and since things have changed a lot at Microsoft and in the world over time, is MSDN had a problem where content would get stale. And people would come along and they'd find an error with it. I found a bug on the update statement for T-SQL years ago. The code snippets were all wrong. And what MSDN would let you do is you could actually put a comment in the bottom. And you put a comment saying, hey, the code snippet's wrong, it was this, it should be this. And then that sat there for 7 years. No one ever actually updated the code snippet. Anyone coming to the site, unless they scrolled down and saw my comment, would be like, oh, I'll take this update statement, paste it, doesn't work. And so we have a problem when you have all this content where if you want to keep it up to date or you want people to be able to help, you really need some sort of system where people can submit contributions. Well, something that's come along more since we first built MSDN is the idea of pull requests and open contributions through GitHub. So everything on docs is stored as files in GitHub repositories. We use Git repositories, I should say, because some of our content's in the Azure repositories, the former VSO, and some of it is in GitHub. The bulk is in GitHub, though, because if we want people to be able to click edit and change it, we needed what we would call public repositories, which at least when we started building this wasn't a feature of Visual Studio Online. So we put it all into GitHub, which is kind of odd. As a 19-year Microsoft person, the idea of basing our entire documentation system around someone else's platform and storing everything into someone else's platform felt odd. But it works. And we do find that a lot of people are familiar with that, at least on the developer side. I think we do find more in the IT administrator and things like that, the idea of doing a pull request is a new thing, and people have to catch on to that. But certainly on our developer side, which was like the bulk of what we started with, we felt it would be something very comfortable. And then like I mentioned before, instead of using HTML, we use Markdown so that people can't just do anything they want. They're restricted to what they see. So let me go find a page here. So I'm a little zoomed in, just so it's easier to see for everyone. So this is just like a standard article page, and you can see we have this list of contributors, which is really small, I'm sure, for the little hover over. But these are people who have edited this page. They don't all necessarily work at Microsoft. They might have fixed a typo. I do that a lot. Typos, I see them and they kind of bother me, and spelling mistakes. And so I click edit on hundreds of documents around the site as I'm browsing around, and I just click edit and I change it. And so what we've basically allowed people to do is to go in right into GitHub, And if we take a look at what this looks like, you know, it's Markdown. So it's nothing too fancy, and people can make edits without sort of worrying that they might break the site. If we do HTML, someone forgets to close a span or a div or something, and now the entire site doesn't render correctly. So instead, people jump in and they do Markdown. So I will actually go change something now, though. Not here, but somewhere else. The .NET people wouldn't like it if I changed stuff as part of a demo. But I do have some sample pages. So we'll go in here, and we can just do an edit. Now, I happen to own the repository, so I don't have to do a pull request. I can actually just update it and commit it. And what's going to happen at this point is we use webhooks, you know, the GitHub feature webhooks to basically say, hey, something changed in this repository, calls our build system, which is kind of like just a really big CI system that then runs something called docfx. And docfx is an open source project. I don't even know what its URL is. There we go. Built by our same team that actually allows you to run the same rendering and building pipeline that we do, but you can just run it on your local machine. It takes folders full of source code or Markdown and produces HTML out of them, and it's the same thing we use behind docs in response to one of these changes. So docfx is kind of the heart of everything we do. When a person makes a change, it goes through a whole build process. We'll have to see how long this will take. Oh, it's not done yet. That's OK. We'll come back to that. But what we restrict people down to, like I said, being Markdown, they can't do a lot of stuff. So if we want to do something kind of fancy, like if we wanted to do videos, let me show you here in the code. Is it content? Oh, nope, I got the wrong page. OK, so what we do to allow videos is we actually have custom Markdown where we essentially have our own little tag. It says video. You can put in a URL of anything that's an embeddable video, and then we put it on the page. If we didn't do this, we'd have to ask people to do iframes. And then if we wanted to come along, and I'll give you a little example, people put YouTube videos into the site. We like to turn off cookies on YouTube videos. And if you request a YouTube video from youtube.com, it drops a bunch of cookies. If you request it from youtube-nocookie.com, it doesn't. So by having our own custom extension, we look at the URL you put in and we change it before we render it on the page. So we use custom extensions for anything like that. But other than that, we do try to stick to GitHub Markdown so that people can still, you know, work with what they're familiar with and see it the way it is. All right. Now, I did all that editing in GitHub. I will say that most of the time I use VS Code for this sort of thing. So in VS Code, Markdown editing is actually one of the things it's really good at doing. But it's also, you know, helpful for, so we go back to, you know, our index page, the same page we were looking at here, but I can actually edit things here, do the same git, push, pull, and do things at the command line, which is what most of our authors do as well. A lot of our external contributors who want to just make a quick change like to do it through github.com. It's just a lot quicker. But, you know, if you're going to sit down and write a few hundred pages of articles and content, VS Code is more what people do for that. All right. So the other thing that we ran into a lot is that, like I said, content gets stale. And so for reference content, now this is content like an SDK or an API reference. What we wanted was to be able to generate that content from the source directly. So for .NET, for example, when a new NuGet package gets pushed into the feed, you know, the NuGet.org feed, we pick up that package, we pull it down, and we actually use those DLLs to pull out the latest set of APIs and generate files for them. And so what the benefit there is when they make a small change, they change a parameter or something like that, instead of waiting 3 or 4 weeks for that team to get around to changing the documentation, we update it instantly. It has to build. and things like that. But still, within a few hours, when a new PowerShell package comes out for the Azure PowerShell SDK, it appears on the site. And the nice thing there is that on our staging servers, we pull from staging versions of those same feeds. So those teams can look at their documentation before it all goes live. And we are set up right now, the DocFX is built-in support for C# and Swagger, which is how we document REST APIs. But we also have all sorts of CI jobs that take something else, let's say like Java or Python and things like that, and convert it into YAML files so that we can actually go ahead and pull it into the system. That way we have Go right now, we have, like I said, Python, PowerShell. There's lots of that stuff, and there's more coming all the time. Whenever a new SDK for Azure comes out in a new language, we have to build a new CI job to figure out how to get that into the system. Some numbers there, 10 million lines of auto-generated code pushed into GitHub. They use CI jobs running in the Azure pipelines, Visual Studio Online system, that kind of thing. But what that lets us do is that because it's structured content, we can do things that we wouldn't be able to do with just regular HTML. So normally, if it's all just HTML, the most we could do for a search, for example, would just be like a full text search across the site, weight titles and stuff differently. But because it's structured, we can actually understand the content a lot better and build up something like a .NET API browser. And we have one of these for Python, we have one of these for PowerShell, we have one for REST. And in here, I can actually start typing, and it follows the same rules as IntelliSense, where we actually understand the structure of the files and can help you, find a given set of reference. And then, after that, we now, once again, get to control how we render this out as well. But the other thing that this lets us do, because of the fact that we get to render it out and we can change it and update it, we went through and added a bunch of functionality to our pages not that long ago. I'll find an example here. Right. Where we took every little code snippet that was already in the doc and we added a run button to it. Okay? So in this case, it's C#. So we can actually click run. And now I actually have code over here. Well, let's see. We could do something like that. And if you can see it, the output changed to now. The interesting thing here, this is actually calling back to a service that is running .NET. It is actually executing this code. It's not parsing it in JavaScript or anything weird like that. It's actually executing it in .NET on a backend server and sending you back the results. But this sort of thing is something that we can light up documentation with because we have it structured and because we can sort of add after the fact. So we could have all our code snippets on the page completely static before, and then we turn around and make them interactive by just sort of tweaking our front-end templates. All right. And so keeping going with this interactive idea, we also, we do the same for things like, oh, that's not the actual name of it. There we go. The Azure CLI. So what that allows us to do is, it doesn't say run it, it's try it in this case because it's not code. But I can actually click a button and it will connect me to the Azure Cloud Shell running against my Azure subscription, and I can execute commands and test them out. It's a little scary in my mind, the idea that I could sit here and learn hitting things like that, which kind of brings us to one of the last things I'll show you, which is this idea of learning by having your Azure account and testing everything against it has been a bit of a blocker for us. So people who wanted to learn a lot of Azure needed to take a credit card, go sign up for a trial, and then test against their own account. And if you, let's say, set up a CosmoDB and a bunch of VMs, you're paying for that. And that is something that in a lot of cases people don't want to do, a lot when they're learning. So what we turned around and built just recently, announced this week, is something called Microsoft Learn. And I won't do a big demo out here because I'm almost out of time. But Microsoft Learn allows me to go in and do Azure content. Let me get to a part where and do things like creating virtual machines and stuff like that, but you'll see it did a little thing called sandbox activated. We actually create a sandbox in Azure using our money and our subscriptions, 800 of them, and we give you a tiny little space inside a given subscription and say, you can go in and play, and you can do so for free. And so as you're doing this content, making VMs, spinning things up, it doesn't cost you anything. It costs us money, which is why we do a lot of fancy stuff with Azure policies. When we turn around and give you this space inside Azure, we actually know that, oh, you're doing the virtual machine lab, so we lock it down, so all you can do is create a virtual machine. If you're doing CosmoDB, we lock it down, so you can do CosmoDB. That's to prevent someone from coming here and firing up their Bitcoin miners. And the other thing we do is, after a few hours, we just tear it all down. And so that way we're not paying for it forever. But the benefit for you, hopefully, is that you can go through, do all these courses, use Azure, set up almost anything in there, and not pay for it at all. And if you happen to be a student or things like that, you don't even need to give us a credit card to create the account. It's all just done using your MSA or AAD account. We just go ahead and give you access to our Azure subscription. Cool. So, believe it or not, that's 20 minutes. I'm certainly surprised. But we did run through all of that. So at this point, happy to answer questions about docs if anyone has. We have 10 minutes or so before they'll have to start setting up for the next session. Or you can come up and talk to me directly if you'd prefer. So, cool. All right, thanks. Oh, yeah. Yep. So what people can do, because they don't own the repository, unlike me, is they basically are going in and submitting a pull request. And then the authoring teams look at those, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, I see what you're doing. The code snippet was wrong. Your new one is also wrong, but they will take it as like a work item to fix it. Right. And for people internally who are doing it, we have a whole review process for pull requests. And then we have actually the ability to look at the complexity of the pull request and say, oh, they changed a typo, auto approve. And that's to prevent having to have someone else in the team look at everyone's change and approve every little thing they do. So for small changes, and nothing structural to a site, we auto approve those for internal folks. And at some point, we may start auto-approving externals if they have a reputation where, oh, they're the person who fixed all our Oxford commas. We'll just let them keep doing that. So, yeah. Actually, that reminds me. Did my demo ever come back? I wonder. Yay! It did actually update. So it now says Microsoft Ignite publicly, so you could go look at that until I change it back. But yeah, so we are building thousands and thousands of pages every few minutes from all the different people changing stuff because of that reference content, right? If it was just authors writing content, it wouldn't be so much because that takes time. But because when like .NET 4.7.1 drops, we suddenly will pick up 100,000 new pages of documentation that have to be generated and spit out to the site. But the nice thing is, before, those actually used to come in as Word docs back in the original MSDN. All the authors would work in Word docs. They would put them all into big zip files for us, and then we would actually run code to convert them into HTML. And it was nasty. So it's been a while, though. Cool. Any other questions? No? I'm probably supposed to put up this thing. Cool. All right. Then I will let them set up for the next one, and people can come.